In 2018, a quiet town in northern England began to notice something unusual. Every morning, at exactly 6:40, a handwritten note appeared on the same wooden bench in a small public park. No one ever witnessed the moment it arrived. Nearby cameras recorded nothing out of the ordinary, and yet the notes continued to appear as if the bench itself were delivering a message. This was not a story of fear or danger. It was a mystery shaped by patience, observation, and human habit, inspired by real incidents that proved how closely we are watched by the ordinary world around us. The town called Weatherby was known for routine. People followed the same paths, arrived at the same times, and rarely questioned the familiar. The park bench sat beside a lake and was used daily by joggers, office workers, and elderly residents seeking a moment of calm. One morning, a folded note was discovered on the bench. The message described a small personal habit of someone who passed by each day. At first, it was dismissed as coincidence, but the following morning, another note appeared, and then another, each one describing a different person with unsettling accuracy. Over time, the pattern became impossible to ignore. The notes were never threatening. They did not demand attention or make accusations. Instead, they quietly reflected behavior that only close observation could reveal. Local authorities examined the area. Cameras were reviewed. The bench was checked repeatedly. No explanation emerged. No one could determine how the notes were placed there without being seen. Curiosity spread through the town. People began visiting the bench deliberately, wondering whether a note would appear for them. Some arrived early, others waited nearby. Each morning, the result was the same. At 6:40, the note was already there. Eventually, careful observation revealed an overlooked detail. The notes were not placed on the surface of the bench. They were carefully tucked inside a narrow crack in the aged wood, hidden in plain sight. The bench had been holding the messages long before anyone thought to examine it closely. Weeks later, a letter reached a local newspaper. It contained no name and no return address, only an explanation. Years earlier, a retired school teacher who walked through the park each morning had lost his eyesight due to illness. Without vision, he relied on memory, sound, and routine. He recognized footsteps, breathing patterns, and the small habits people repeated without realizing. The notes were written as reflections, not warnings. They were reminders of how predictable human behavior becomes when no one believes they are being noticed. Soon after the explanation became known, the notes stopped appearing, but the effect remained. People lingered longer at the bench. They moved more slowly. They paid attention to their surroundings and to themselves. Because the mystery was never about who was watching. It was about how rarely people observe their own lives. Sometimes the most meaningful lessons are left quietly in ordinary places, by someone who learned to see the world without sight,